Last time we showed you all the preparation and departure Panama, and now we take you on the journey from Panama to the Galapagos. Sun went down about 10 minutes ago, and we're just plodding away. The course of 160, making about 7.9 knots. Must have a reasonable current behind us. We're only running at 1300 RPM. Nothing on the radar except a little bit of land. Good morning. This is our first day at sea after a bit of a rough night. Things have calmed down considerably, and we are traveling along about 7.5 knots, a southwesterly course. The sun is going to come up in the next 15 minutes. As you can see, it's a beautiful morning. Now we're out of the Panama Bay. It's time to get the new rod out and the new lures and start trolling for fish. We soon catch a mahi, which was to be one of 3 mahis and 3 marlins. We also saw numerous dolphins who played alongside the boat.
Okay, we've been at sea for 24 hours. What say you, Captain?
We get there eventually. Yeah, we left at 16:40. It's now 17:05, so just over 24 hours. Yeah, coming out of Panama Bay, it was a bit rough, with those winds that tend to blow in from the north. So it was a bit confused sea. It wasn't very pleasant, to be honest. And so we didn't actually have a very pleasant evening. And we were all a bit 6s and 7s because of hadn't been to sea for a little while. But since around lunchtime, it's settled right down here now, and we're doing 8 knots. We picked up the current. 8.4 in fact. So we're doing about a knot of current, over a knot of current. The seas have flattened down, the wind's dropped. Early morning, 0600, dawn is just happening. We're just having a cup of coffee together. I've just been on watch from 1 a.m. till 6 a.m. I woke the Admiral up and she's made coffee, and we've had some South African rusks. How was your evening, love?
I slept pretty well. I was on watch from 9:30 until 1:30. I was going to stay on, but you woke up, so I didn't have to come and call you. I would have called you at about 2:30. But anyway, thank you for that. And it's been so calm, you can't believe it. I mean, you can put the kettle on and go to the cabin while you're waiting for the water to boil. You don't have to stand over and watch it.
Making 9.2 knots now. It's amazing.
Yep.
Anyway, like I said earlier, we've got some buddies. Leslie's going to film me while I go up there and shoo them away.
The poopy boobies.
The poopy boobies.
Just out here supervising my captain to make sure he cleans the deck properly. You know, you got to watch people these days. You can't just assume they're doing their job well.
It's not all sweetness and light and beautiful sunrises and calm seas. We may have a stabilizer or hydraulic leak on the stabilizer, so I've had to remove the drawers, and I'm going to have to go down in that space there and have a look and see what's going on. As you can see, there's some oil that's leaked out from somewhere. We need to find out where. Turns out this blue cap had worked loose, and you can see the locking wire had stretched. I tightened it again, and after checking, it seemed to have done the job. Obviously, as a regular part of the journey every day, I have to move fuel from the main fuel tanks into the starboard aft tank, which we use as our day tank. Here you can see it has 225 gallons in it. We use this polishing rake oar and pump to move the fuel across. With the stabilizer leak, I now needed to gain access to the lazarette so that I could get oil out to top off the stabilizer's oil. This means that we needed to pump the center fuel bladder to gain access to the lazarette. We hadn't planned on doing this, but it was also part of the plan that if we needed to gain access to the lazarette, we would pump the center tank. Here you can see us going about pumping the center bladder using the 12 volt 15 gallons per minute pump on the battery. It's fairly efficient. Once we have emptied the bladder, then I hold open the lazarette while Leslie goes down and gets the oil out. Here we've moved the yoga mats out of the way, which were insulating the and protecting the bladders, and we've gone in and got what we needed out of the lazarette. One of the new experiences for us was catching these large marlins between Panama and Galapagos. On the last one we lost all our line to the marlin, which meant we had to get new line in Galapagos. It's been over 40 years since I became a shellback when I crossed the line and paid homage to Neptune. Now it's Leslie's turn.
So, Neptune the Great, King of the Deep, I seek permission to cross the line from the northern hemisphere to the south, and I will honor you with libations of your choice.
Leslie Coles, I am the representative of Neptune. You have promised to participate in libations in honor of being welcomed into our kingdom and becoming a shellback. I hereby grant you, once you have taken your libations and all your you must take your libation. Take it.
Okay, Neptune, this is your share of the libations. Watch this.
After Leslie gets a certificate, we hear from the agent that they are tracking us. They don't want us to arrive in the anchorage until 10 p.m. So the sun sets as we now approach Galapagos. We'll arrive in the evening, allowing us to stay through the night. Okay, so this is the screen. Overnight, while we were anchored, 3 expedition boats and 1 tanker came in. Now we have to move so the tanker can go alongside. So I don't know how this is all going to work. So we're in the Galapagos now, and everybody is checking us in to the Galapagos. Yeah. This is the boat who brought the authorities out, but it's also the boat that he's just done a spin around with his camera and done a hull inspection to make sure we had the hull cleaned. In the distance you can see the National Geographic boat and other cruising boats for passengers. We've decided to stop off in Galapagos for 500 gallons of diesel. Once we've cleared in, we're informed we are number 5 to take on diesel behind all these passenger vessels, and we have to go astern to those fenders near the tanker. The process involves approaching, dropping the anchor, and then going astern to be about 10 feet off those fenders. The wind was blowing about 10 to 15 knots down the side of the tanker, and I had a couple of attempts before I decided to put the vessel beam on and go astern as close to the bulb of the tanker as I could, and then I would allow the bow to swing around. The mooring boat takes our mooring line and runs one line to the shore while we let out the anchor from the bow and hopefully remain 10 feet off the dock and about 8 feet off the side of the tanker. We don't have a stern thruster, and with the wind this was quite a tricky maneuver. That said, I was very pleased with the way it went, and once we were tied up with the anchor out and the line on the stern, we were able to hold position, although I did leave the engine running the whole time while we were refueling. As you can see, this is a very tricky maneuver. We are just finalizing the lines and hauling the chain just to put a bit of weight on the chain before we begin taking on the diesel into the bladder on the aft deck and also into the tanks. Good morning everyone, it's the 2nd of March in Baltra Island, Galapagos. This is the tanker discharging the diesel for Baltra and for the Galapagos Islands. As you pan around, you see the sun is now beginning to rise, and that's the airport over there, busiest airport in the Galapagos. We arrived just 2 nights ago, refueled yesterday, got permission to stay until 6 o'clock this morning. We're currently doing our engine checks and our system checks, and we'll be setting off on our journey to the Marquesas in about 15 minutes. Excited to make this journey of 3,050 miles. We're fully loaded with 2,800 gallons of diesel, which at about 1.7 miles to the gallon should give us more than enough capacity to get there.